What's going on?
What's up, dog?
What's up, bro?
Another recording. Nice to see you, Chad. Nice to see you again in a suit.
Thanks for having me.
Chad, I feel like every time I see you, he's giving you. Yeah. So, just for the record, guys, I know you see Mr. Chad here in a suit. That's what he does all the time. So this is not just for the podcast. This is just him. He's coming from his house, which is less than 2 miles away. And he come to the house to dress in a suit.
You know what? As a matter of fact, since we're rolling, why are you always so fly, Mr. Chad?
I mean, I don't consider myself more fly than anyone else, if I'm being quite honest.
Bro, I'm in a Nike shirt, some joggers, and I wear some slippers.
But that's your style. I mean, you know, there's... yeah, that's your style, and, you know, a lot of people wear that same style, you know?
I feel like this is a cop-out answer. You're not telling us the real reason. Like, why?
I mean...
When did it start?
I think what I was trying not to do, because it kind of went into the last podcast, is to make it into a fashion podcast, you get me? But...
That one is a bit quick with
you know, okay, real quick, it was, you know, back in the day, in my early 30s, I actually had a very young face. And I was living in DC at the time, and you know, trying to progress my career, but I was actually struggling at work. You know, I was producing a good work product, etc., etc. But then, like, I wasn't getting invited to like the big meetings. I wasn't getting my props at work and whatever. And I remember there's this one guy that used to always come in a suit and was dressing fly and stuff. And I don't know, it was like a man amongst men, you know? And, you know, you just see when him kind of move through, like how the women respond to him and even the other men responded to him. And I mentioned this in the last podcast, you know, it was after Christmas one day, I stopped in a suit shop and I got a couple of suits, you know, for very cheap, you know, all different colors, whatever. Bought them, got them altered and started wearing them to work. And little by little, I don't know, I started getting invited to meetings at work. The big bosses one time after a big presentation was like, yo, come smoke cigars with us across the street. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It kind of reminded me of a topic that we spoke about back in the day, where it was fake it till you make it.
But it wasn't, I don't think it's really faking it.
It's not faking it. You know what I mean? He's doing what he has to do to get into certain rooms and around certain people, which is a smart idea. So another hack from Mr. Chad, right? But speaking about careers and progressing and ideas when it comes to that, we do have a guy in the background that's scared to talk about this topic because it could be a problematic topic for growth in work. I don't think it should be.
That's the thing. I don't think it's problematic, and I guess we should speak about what this topic is about. It's the use of the N-word. We all know what the N-word is. You know, right. I was telling you guys before we started recording today, like, growing up in the UK, we did not use the N-word at all. Yeah. It was really rare. Like, if you guys have watched Top Boy, you'll realize that word is not used at all.
That's true.
We use bro, we use bruv, we use yo man dem. You know, it's just not a word that we've used.
But why do you think so?
Because it's not a part of our culture. Okay. It's never been a part of the.
But is it something that's like, is it something that you guys kind of like scoff at? Like, you know, this is like, it's too vulgar.
So you know what? You know what's funny? I would say, like, even in rap nowadays, like some of the UK artists, I see them start using it. But like back in my day when I was living in the UK, like there was man from a specific area, like Northwest London. Those rappers were more Americanized. They were the big change. They were like the FUBU jackets. So they would use that N-word. But people from like South and East London and West, no, that's just not a phrase that we would use. And we would look upon it. We would, even like if I recollect, like even being around my cousins and my family, that's just not a word that we would use. It's just very taboo. If you heard it, you'd be like, what? You know? Even from a black person to a black person, and I think that's, first of all, it shouldn't be used. My opinion is that it shouldn't be used. I don't care what race you are. You could be black. I don't think you should be using it. So, there's other ways you can communicate to a person of color or a person that you know, I don't know. I just
but
don't think
since we're here right now, I want to know why you think that. Why do you think that people should not be using that word, especially if they are quote unquote the people that are that word?
Well, can I say this one?
We're black people.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that word. We're black people.
So can I
want you to explain, like, you know what I'm saying, to everybody else that's watching, why it to you it's just like wrong for us as black people to be using that word?
Because it's been used in so much negatively ways over the past hundreds of years.
So
why continue using that trend?
I will add on to that point, right? So, you know, I am also, you know, an opponent of using that word. I do not agree with it. No.
But you can use that word.
Okay. To that point, actually, because I was going to get to that point.
Out of 21 people.
Right, funny you say that. But
interesting.
You know,
I said that though.
Okay.
To Kimani's point, you know, growing up in Jamaica, that was not a word that was used. No, I will say, when I moved to the United States, so my experience is a little different from you guys because I did not move to Florida, right? And I'm going to explain what I saw the differences were. So in Florida here, you know, the African American community is very enmeshed with the Caribbean culture because, you know, Caribbean people have been here for a very long time. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, not somewhat, maybe going on 20 years ago, right? So Atlanta back 20 years ago when I first moved here, you know, they didn't even know what a Jamaican was. You know, it might sound surprising, no, but back then, trust me, you know, there's a lot of African Americans there who they did not know what a Jamaican was, right? And you know, they would say to me, "You're not black, you're Jamaican." You know, and that would that would throw me off. So then that's something that I've learned here in the States is that, like, you know, African Americans consider themselves, you know, separate even from us. Like I said, it's a little different here in Florida because you guys are a little bit more enmeshed. But
I think Islanders do the same thing though.
That's a whole topic.
That's a whole topic.
Because it's not.
It's a big
right. I know. So I say that to say, right? I say that to say, I say that to say that, like, you know, when I first moved here, I would say that word, you know, as a way to fit in, right? You know, I was trying to fit in. I was trying to find my place in the American society back then. You get me? A Jamaican here, as I said, moving to Atlanta at the time is not like there were many Jamaicans there. You get me? It's not until you know, I did a year of high school. There was no there was no Jamaicans in my high school. It's only like a couple New Yorkers who knew what Jamaicans were, but like the southern African Americans, they did not know. You know, they were like, you know, and then obviously I get the whole like, well, you don't look Jamaican, and then I'd have to like, what does a Jamaican look like? You know,
and that's why I said earlier. I was like, yo, you can't say the word because if you look at Chad, does Chad look like a black person? Right? And like I realized in society today is like somebody said this earlier. When they're in the club or whatever, or they're out partying and them start playing the song them that have that word in it, they look around to see who's going to say it. Right? And there's certain people that you're looking around to see, like, can you say this word? You should not say this word. And then if they say it, it's a problem. Right? So if you look at Chad now, is Chad going to get that same type of treatment where them look at Chad like, should he say this word? Just because him look like a different than maybe me.
You know, it's funny because on the flip side, I've also gotten it later on in life where they were like, oh, well, you're Jamaican, you're cool. You know, but that happened years later. But I did want to, you know, expound on what Kimani said. Like, you know, we've all lived here in the States for a very long time. So then, you know, we've started to learn a lot of, you know, African American history, you know, the atrocities that you know, that race has suffered over the course of, you know, since they've moved, well, they were forcibly moved here to the States. And then even, you know, coming all the way back to what's going on now. You get me? But the history of that word, as far as I know it, so it is just, it was used in a very derogatory fashion. It was used, right? It was meant to be disrespectful. It was meant to break you.
With that said, let's address the fact that the word has evolved.
Evolved how?
It used to be a E or ER word, and it's now an A word when used amongst groups of friends. And
Right, the ending.
It's not true.
The
It's not
ending.
true.
So because wait, I'm sorry. You're telling me the word is evolved because it's moved from ER to A?
No, the reason why I said that is like people, you're not going to hear people say it the way how it was used back in the day. They're not going to say it in that sense, if that makes sense. It's used differently nowadays.
Yeah, it is used differently.
Yeah.
I think black people have taken ownership of the word. And pretty much the Eminem and 8 Mile effect. You just use it to negate the other stuff. To me.
Yeah.
I think it would be worthwhile to look, I think, into the history of the evolution of the word. Why I say that is because, you know, one, it was used by white people. Two, again, you know, I kind of talked about in the last podcast, but like the house slaves would try to separate themselves from the field slaves, right? You know, and then they would start calling each other that. You get me? And you know, overall, just the word itself, it just has such a very bad meaning from history, right? It's like I am just of the opinion that, you know, we did talk about like, we're looking around the club to see who going to say. How about we just like try to consign the word to history? That way we are not having these issues. You get me? You know, because on the flip side to like, you know, and this maybe another topic or off into a tangent, but you know, like, you know, the Black and the African American culture is also appropriated a lot by other races. You get what I'm saying? And so, you know, it's almost as if they want to, by trying to be like, well, you say it, I can say it. It's as if like, well, it doesn't have the same meaning it's had before. You get me? Because you see, what I think now is that our generation is so far removed from when the civil rights era. The civil rights era was at least 60 years ago now, whatever. So like 2 whole generations maybe at this point. So what I'm saying is the current generation is as if like, you know, I'm pretty sure the previous generation be like, I don't like that word. You get me? Because like, you know, they have experiences of being, you know, spoken to like that by some white person, etc., etc. But then our set of generation, like our generation and maybe our parents' generation now have like moved on past that. Where like obviously they did not live in the Jim Crow era, etc. You get me?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be very honest, and I guess this is as I said once again, it's just a probably like a culture shift, right? Because I'm telling you, UK. If I say that word within my family, people are gonna look at me weird. Like, what? Don't talk like that. And you can hear me now. I'm speaking English because, like, I feel like I need to we do not speak like that. And it's something that I've realized when I came here that people just say that willy-nilly.
Well, am I wrong?
Hold on. So my take on this is that you know when the word is being used in a derogatory term context, right? So if we here, all brothers and friends, if Rhino was supposed to having a drink and just say like, yo, what going and say that, would you feel offended by Rhino saying that to you? Knowing that Rhino don't mean it in the way that it used to mean
back in the day.
It used to be meant
That's what I'm saying,
years ago.
I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't be offended, but I would prefer he not use it. And that's just my opinion.
I think
because I didn't grow up with it. That's what you guys are. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't grow up with it.
To not like the word.
I just moved to the US in five years ago.
But in Jamaica, though, don't use the word Jamaica.
No, in high school we did not use that word.
Use that word.
Come on.
No, though.
Yes, and you know why? Because we take everything from foreign.
Right.
Everything from foreign.
And that's what I said.
You weren't used to that word in Jamaica, but I was. Speaking with art, we in Marshall.
Yeah, I remember hearing it in Jamaica all the time.
Change it up. It's not. It's
switched up a little bit.
But it's changing from ER to A to I. It's the same kind of thing. But we don't say, just a random hill, just like we just say, go on or whatever. Because of who it's coming from. It's not coming from a derogatory place.
Because there's going to be a group of people that look at what we're saying right now and be like, it's not that big of a deal, bro.
Right.
What do you tell those people?
I think I just attacking it from my personal view is that I'm attacking it from a moral standpoint. You get me? I think it's just, again, my view of the history of that word will just always be negative.
Same.
You understand?
Same.
And so again, it is still used today in a derogatory term from one race to another. You understand what I'm saying? So like, we're talking about, there's one variant that is derogatory and another variant that is not derogatory. You understand? Which is why, like, maybe the best way to just eliminate this issue is to eliminate the use of the word.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
There's so many other words you could use. Why use that word?
Because what I also getting at too is, like, again, when I attack it from the moral issue, if we discuss race relations in this country, right? You see that one race is now trying to downplay the issues that the minority races are facing. You understand? And that's what it goes back to the point that I was trying to say.
One moment. You see that word that you just said? I hate that more than the N-word.
Yeah, he hates minority.
Call me a minority.
He hates minority.
I by that word. I am not classified as a minority.
Fair. That is fair.
Right?
That's fair.
I hate that word so much more.
Okay.
What explain? Can you explain that though?
Let's talk about minority.
We don't call white people in a black country minority.
Right.
Do we?
I mean, it's a factual statement.
South Africa, they consider
minority. The word minority is always directed to black people.
No.
Still, it's not.
90%,
No, it's not.
90% of the time.
Fair.
Minorities. Minorities is
but you didn't answer the question, Pang. Instead of the word minority, what would be, what would be a substitute? You understand?
the marginalized.
That's something that I would have to look into.
Marginalized. I like that.
I don't feel that is the correct term to be used.
Okay. And what I'm saying to you in this situation here is, like, I'm not using this in a derogatory in a derogatory way. I was more using it in a fact-based way.
Yeah.
You get me?
How about this though?
It's like how we classified the other day. Remember when Manda was here?
Yeah.
How we talked about being humble. And
Right. The word humble is not good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the word minority in the same kind of context.
So, all right, let me speak to that.
Interesting.
I think listening to you guys,
Please, sir.
my perspective.
Please, sir.
Can someone sit down?
Please, sir.
No, please.
Please, sir.
We're hearing your voice. We know who you are.
Come on.
The guy in the black shirt.
You can take the cracks off, though, when you come over,
All right, so it being used amongst friends, I get it. It's okay. You let it slide. But once someone outside the race uses it, it creates like a negative space. Like, it makes you angry. So I think that is the difference between, say, a minority or calling somebody a bitch or the use of the N-word. Because, I mean, if you call me a bitch, I'm not going to like it. Right?
No.
But I know you're not calling me a bitch because I'm black. Right?
And that goes to the point where you said earlier, I need to bring that up, like you said, ownership.
Yeah.
So it's like a certain demographic take ownership to the word, right? And they're the only ones that can use it, even though it's used in a manner that it wasn't used back in the day.
Yeah. But
So should other people be allowed to use the word if the word has transformed into something else?
I'm also the person that doesn't.
But you're against everybody.
I know. Exactly. I am. That's what I'm saying.
I'm also the person that doesn't walk around with this heavy weight on my shoulder. Like, if a white person said it to me here, I'm not gonna fight. I'll walk away. I'll go about my business.
But would you feel? Would you feel
Even
some
if
type
you're
of
away?
way though?
I would just say to myself, all right, this person's racist,
Right.
and I'll go about my business.
But if they say
But that's
the
a personal
A or the ER,
Right, that's a
A versus
personal.
ER. Them say the A because that's how they grew up and that's what they're used to in their culture.
It could have been the ER.
It doesn't matter they're racist.
Wait, how do you know the difference? Sorry, how do you know the difference?
If Eminem says the A, right? Are you looking at Eminem as racist, or are you looking at it
Sorry.
as a product of his environment from the way he grew
Sorry,
up?
I guess the question is, how do you know the difference?
What do you mean?
You said A versus ER. How do you know the difference?
You can't tell the difference with the way how the word sound.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
It's a blatant difference.
Come on, my nigga.
But the point is, if there's a white youth that grew up in the hood, right, and he's used to his friends saying it, and he's he's adapted that from his childhood. That's all him know. So you vex with him for saying it? Because, quote unquote, he shouldn't?
I know people in that situation right now, and I'm just telling you right now.
I'm realizing that I grew up differently from you guys. I wouldn't say it at all. That's just
every
it.
white person knows, no matter where you
I don't
go,
like it.
you just know that, all right, you don't say this.
Yeah.
People you're not comfortable with.
What do you feel about?
Eminem ever said it in a song? No, right?
No,
Because I'm saying, so even
Oh,
he
you never
knows.
said it in a song.
I feel like the people that do say it is they're kind of like, you know what I mean? I said
You
that.
could never say.
Yeah, a little bit off.
On the flip side, us as black people, we can say the C word. And we won't get cancelled for it.
Sure won't.
Yeah?
But in what sense
But
though?
again, it doesn't have that negative connotation to it. That
The C word?
The C word, yeah.
I feel like the C word was more kind of like created to be like, you know, I'm gonna make a word for you.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, but we didn't enslave them or
Yeah. There's nothing tied to it like that. Yeah, other than
That is an extent.
I think
You know,
again, what I was getting at though, hold on,
Yeah.
let me just finish the point.
Sorry,
What
go
I was getting at is just, again, the African American race take ownership of this word, right? That's fine. But then what happened is now, again, like I said, white people is as if they want to say this word so badly. You understand? And, again, with what is going on in the world right now, like I said, they're trying to, wash down, diminish the experiences that we are having right now. You understand? So in a way, they're like, well, if you use the word, I can use the word. Because the word apparently doesn't mean anything to you anymore. So it shouldn't mean anything to me, which is why I said to you, like, yo, you know what? To negate this whole argument,
Don't use it.
just negate the use of the word. You get me? Because no, you're not going to sit down here and start to like diminish the experience that we're having now. You understand? I mean, look at it in this country right now, like they are actively trying to suppress the experience. Pang me can't say minority, you understand? I'll give you an example, like,
Sir.
Well, I'll give you a quick example. Like, I don't know if you guys heard about the African American women in Atlanta who started a non-profit to give grants to African American women for to start their own businesses, right?
Amazing.
Look how much black people have been marginalized. Them can't get loans from banks and whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what a white conservative did? He sued them.
He sued them
He
for
sued
what?
them to be like, yo, they are racist.
Why?
You
Because of the
understand?
black people that they're doing.
Exactly, because they're targeted. Because you see what they're now doing, and that's why I said maybe we're going off down a rabbit hole right now. But like you and I talk about it, Stu. There's now this whole reverse racism. That is the new tactic. You get what I'm saying?
why do you guys think the word was altered?
Well, that is a different topic. That maybe somebody else might have to speak to.
Why do you think
I think it's just
When was it altered? Sorry, when was it altered?
Slang.
I can't tell you the exact date. So you think it's just the way how people pronounced it?
yeah. So I have a question for you. Is there a word that you think black people should use regarding other races? Because I think we can use anything.
No. Wait, what do you mean?
For example, say cracker, stick.
We shouldn't be using those words.
Nobody uses those words though.
We shouldn't be using those words.
We shouldn't be using it, but we can use it and not get in trouble.
You will get in trouble. They will look at you a certain way.
What?
Of course.
What? Of course.
Well,
We're not using those words.
Every rapper sings it, but no white rapper will say the N-word.
Yeah, but it's
At the end of the day, the
Are we
can't
saying
base
because
anything-
rappers are doing it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but you see, this is always.
What do rappers talk about?
This
Sorry,
is
Chad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rappers talk about all the nonsense. So you can't listen to none of the rapper say I
No,
use
no,
that
no,
as...
I'm not saying name, but I'm just
Oh.
saying if Eminem said nigga, we cancel. Right?
Honestly, I don't,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't think he'd be cancelled, yo. I don't think he'd be cancelled.
I think he would be.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't listen to him.
So there's a radio show I listen in the morning sometimes while driving to work. So 1035 Charlemagne. Right? On the radio program, he would say the C word. But he's not gonna say the N-word outright on that show. But he said this.
Hey, listen. There was a podcast. There's a famous podcast in the US. That's why I don't listen to US podcasts. There was a famous podcast in the US I couldn't even listen to for 5 minutes. The amount of time that guy, a black guy, said the N-word, I turned it off.
Call him out. Who is it?
No, I'm not doing that.
We're not getting messy.
I couldn't listen to it. I'm sorry. And you know what's even worse? Hold on. Do you know what's even worse? When a woman says it, that is such a bit. I don't. Obviously, I'm in a different realm from you guys.
Yeah,
into how I hate that word. I hate it. So when I hear a woman use it, oh my God, she don't know how much.
But you're British. You hate it from the time you're young. It was instant to not use the word and you just
not use it.
It's a word where you just don't mess with.
Yeah, we don't mess with it.
And we understand that from your side of things. But the people that grew up around this word and hear the word constantly and their friends use it and all of that stuff, to them it's just normal, bro. Like it's something that they've just adapted throughout life.
Man, it's sad.
But I will say though, some people do mature.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, just like you.
But what I'm saying is, all right, so like I have friends from back in the day, right? And I've grown with my friends, and I've seen that we're at a stage now in life where them really trying to avoid that word. Right? And don't really use the word like that. Maybe for drinking and like it slips out in like a joking manner or whatever. It's like, but they don't use it in the group chats. Right? They don't use it just like casually anymore. I realize that. So what do you guys think is causing that though? Like, do you think people are actually aware that the word itself is, kind of negative or whatever?
I think people are mindful of who's in the chat.
Yeah.
Because I have a chat where there are some white people in there. I don't use the N-word in my chat. In my chat where there are black people, I might use the word.
Well, what about the point of the chat can be screenshotted and like sent over to someone else?
Actually, let me ask him a separate question. I'm sorry to call you, but let me ask you, how did you start to use that word?
You know what? Rap music and just making fun of American dialect. I think that's how it started. Like, yo, what's cool, man?
Yeah, like as a joke. Yeah,
right.
You're in Jamaica and you're just doing this little twang that you see on TV. And you do it, and you know you can do it because of the pigment of your skin. But when you got to the US, we have a different experience than people born here. Like, a lot of people born here wear it on the chest.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like anything that is done, oh, that's racist. Oh, this is racist. Whereas you're coming from a society where it's just classism.
Yeah.
I know. Bernard is white. Cool. Call him blacks.
Yeah, yeah. What if you see him as white, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't imagine a world where, all right, he would be up the street and I can't say hi to him. Whereas here it's a different experience.
No, so just stick up in. So if blacks were supposed to say that word to anyone that we and no one of blacks grow up as one of we that.
It's not gonna be a problem.
Look, what? I'm not a problem to we.
It's not gonna be a problem at all.
When I was younger in Jamaica, I wouldn't mind. I think no. I wouldn't be offended, but I would want to educate him like, hey, you shouldn't be using that.
Baby.
Yeah, don't use it at all because you might get comfy and use it elsewhere.
You know what's fair though? You know what's unfair about that?
Yeah.
What's unfair?
He's half black.
No, I hear you.
He is.
No. Yeah, it's that.
The white is always what they see.
But
Yeah,
Stefan. So I think you went back and you just kind of proved the point I made earlier.
Exactly.
Because you see, when you started using that word, right? You did not know the history, the context, etc. I think what may be beneficial for all of us when we walk away from here is to also look and see. I tried to say this earlier, like there may be also a generational shift because there may be, there's still leftovers from the civil rights era and stuff. And I'd be curious to know, I don't know. I would be curious to know if they use that word.
Who?
In, let's say like
Mississippi and them places there?
Well, no, like leftovers from like Andrew Young, for example. He's an ex-mayor of Atlanta. But he, walked with Martin Luther King, etc., etc. He's still alive. He's like in his 90s now, maybe. But, I'd be curious to know if they
vocabulary.
Right. You get me? Because like I said, I think what has also happened is that because as the time has passed between that generation and this generation, again, there's no this generation, they don't have as much, like you said, they don't wear it on them shoulder as much because they don't know, the meaning of how, their parents did not, march with Martin Luther King and get like hit with the dogs and the fire hoses, etc., etc. You get me? Now that we have lived there for a little bit, we know some of these things. You get me? And I think that is part of the reason I don't use it now, because, like I said, when I first moved here, I was trying to fit in, etc., etc. But now that I've lived here for a little while and have now been exposed, I've learned, a lot of history, etc., etc. I know from a moral standpoint, I'm like, that word, I'm sorry. It started from a very dark place. You understand? And it's just, no matter how you want to change the I to the ER to the I, the whatever, it's just, no, you get me? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I get you, and everything in moderation and to each his own, right? You walk around, you carry yourself, you have to be respectful and mindful of everybody around you. I'm not going to meet a stranger and be like, what's up, man? My N-word. If I'm comfy with you, I'll say it around you. If I'm comfy with you, I might greet you that way. Now, if I know that is something you don't like, then I won't do it. But I think I've removed any association with negativity from the word because I haven't experienced that side of it.
Yeah, you know what I really want to do? What I really want to do is have like a survey with a bunch of white people, and I want to hear their honest views on how do you feel about the word, and do you think you should be able to use the new version of the word?
That's what
I know, because I feel like some people kind of want to use the word. Like I feel like they're like,
that guy's always
not used,
and that's what I said to you. I actually think that there may also be a part of the sample. There may be a part of the sample who is like, you know what? I would prefer that the word does not exist.
Yeah.
And maybe it solves some of the problems. It's obviously like a very minimalist way to look at it. But you get what I'm saying? There may be a part of the sample that's just like, I wish the word never exists either.
Apparently, someone use the word much more frequently than I do. It's not a word that I practice to use, right? Mm-hmm. But in a setting of bridgings or people that are of the same race, and they say the word to me, and I know it's not coming from a negative space.
It's whatever.
I don't have any.
For sure.
Right.
No, and that's what I say. I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
And to be honest with you, I don't use it often, and when I do, it's in a jovial manner.
Yeah.
So can I ask you guys a question? If you meet a woman, a black woman, actually, a black woman, and she keeps on saying, yo, what up? Yo, she keeps on saying, yo, I hate
That's not attractive. Sorry. All
right, so, right. That's what I'm saying. Is it attractive to you? Is it okay if she uses that term?
I'm the wrong person to ask because there's a slew of words that I don't like.
I was going to say, I think that's a slightly different topic when if we want to talk about.
So it's okay for a man to use it, but it's not okay for a woman to use it.
Because it's not okay if you use it.
No,
you're overly uses it.
Bro, women don't even like when you say yo.
You're asking. No, you're asking.
When you say yo, she's gonna be like, you just say yo to me.
I don't say say a woman.
I don't like a girl saying that to me.
Right. I was about to say, Mr. Kimani, you're actually there's two separate topics.
Yeah.
No, you're broaching the realm of.
I don't like both. It's not too.
Women speaking like men. We can say like yo. So you like when women speak like men, like no. Right. That's a whole different topic.
Oh wait, so
is that a podcast topic?
You know alright, so if you don't wait, hold on. So let me just get this understand. If a girl says, yo, what up, bro? You don't like that?
No.
Not if it's a girl I'm dating.
Yeah.
No. If it's a girl, right.
If your sister, then whatever.
Your sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Like a girl you dating, no.
Yeah.
If it's your sister, would you have a problem? She says, what up, my nigga?
No.
See, even I said it and it sounds weird.
But once in a blue moon. This can't be every.
Yeah, like, as a joke, if she comes to me like I said, jovial, joking, what up, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
I don't really know, girl.
Yeah, you know what you say? Maybe I just don't.
You are telling me
like that.
I think we all have a friend here that.
Come on,
you know what I mean?
A lot of them.
Yeah,
I know a lot of them. I know a lot.
I don't have any.
And I think they do it with this.
We all have a mutual friend here that would do that.
Yes.
So I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That one.
Yes. Yes.
Jamaican?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But I know.
A lot of Jamaican girls come here. A lot of Jamaican girls come here and talk.
He's a bro.
And talk and say that.
Yeah, but we know they know this is not everyday conversation.
Yeah.
One of jovial thing like.
Yeah.
What's going on?
She's not rattling off the word like 5 times in one.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so.
No.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in the world that we'd rather just eliminate. But this is a word that's not just going to be eliminated. So, with that said, chat, how do you think we should approach this word? Like, as a group of friends now, we're having this conversation, we're doing this podcast. Do we need to eliminate this word? Because apparently a lot of people in this group don't like the word.
No, I think for me, all right, this is my answer to that question. Kimani
Yes.
has something against the word, like totally against it. So you should be mindful
Of Kimani.
Kimani's feelings,
Yeah.
and his feelings towards that word, so you don't say it around him. But if you know say Pan, no problem with it, you can say it to Pan and Pan can say it to you.
Yeah.
Does it accept it? So you treat everybody accordingly.
So I'll actually like split difference, because Kimani is of like, we're not for use the word blah blah blah. You get me? Like, yo, I don't like, you know. I am more attacking it from like I said, I don't like it, I don't use it, but it's also from a historical perspective. You get me? Because I know the history.
Exactly.
I'm just like, I'd rather more people and back to actually Rhino's point. I have actually also been like, well, you're not black, you're Jamaican, or you're, you know, even some aspects are like, you're sure you're Jamaican, you don't look Jamaican, you know what I mean? Like, I get hit with those things, and those things make me feel away. And actually because of that is also, that's actually a part of why I don't say, because I also don't know
How it would come across to some.
Right, you get what I'm saying? So I just stopped using it a long time ago from a historical perspective, as well as, like I said, when I lived in Atlanta, right? I was, trust me, like you know, you guys here as Floridian Jamaicans, like I said, you guys are very, you know, what's the word?
Cliquish?
No. I'm sorry,
Together?
like you know, Jesus, sorry, I'm blanking right now. But you guys are very enmeshed with African Americans here. You get me? It goes back to what back to what I just said earlier. When I moved to Atlanta, you know, right, years ago, a lot of them never see a Jamaican yet. You know what I mean? They never met one, never, you know, them only know,
I think it's
you
the opposite way around.
a Sean Paul or something like that, you know? Yeah,
Man, I must have just praised Sean Paul because you can't look like Sean.
I think he's right, because if you look like Tropical Fridays,
Yeah.
who's on the Tropical Fridays?
Jamaicans.
And who else?
Right, there's
Probably
a
Haitians. Probably African Americans. Yeah.
Intermix.
Yeah.
well,
As certain places, the higher up you go in the States, you might
You go to
probably be
there. Oh, I get what you're saying.
Jamaican.
Yeah.
right.
strictly African American.
Well, to that point, right? So,
That's
like,
true.
I have cousins who are second and third generation Jamaicans. They were born here. So they were born to Jamaican parents. So then they go to school, and then there's like an identity crisis, so to speak, you know, because they consider themselves Jamaican, but then they go to school and then they get classed as like African Americans, and then they're, which one am I? And then as well as they can also fit in the boat, because they also go to school, so they have American accents. They actually start to, you know, that's who they hang around with. So that's what I'm saying. I think that's what happens here in Florida more so than like when I moved to Atlanta back in the early 2000s.
Unfortunately,
you know?
they're the same.
There's honestly a deeper topic.
That is a deep
This
topic.
whole thing.
I think we
Right,
can talk about
for
that,
sure,
guys.
Because there's a whole episode.
Hold on.
Which one am I?
How Jamaicans feel towards
African Americans.
African Americans in terms of the African American struggle.
Right.
Because there's enough Jamaicans I know that are like, I can't relate.
It's a different.
Like,
Right. So
racism.
you know,
It's
now
classism versus racism.
no, you're making connections
very
with
true.
stuff I was asking, so which is actually why I was
very
like,
true.
Stefan, how did you start to use that word? You get what I'm saying? Because, you know,
jovial manner.
You get me? You kind of come in, but you don't know the American struggle. You
really
just know that you come in and you start to use the word per se. You get me?
So Kimani, we know Kimani just grew up in a place where that word is just, you don't use that word, you know what I'm saying? But Chad, no, it's kind of like, all right, you're saying historical data and all this stuff, but you're also saying that you were in an awkward situation of like, if you use the word, people looking at you a certain way. So
there's another reason why we don't use them, and people forget that there were race issues in England as well, which are actually much more recent than the race issues in America. There's been race issues in England up until the early 90s. Okay. In fact, there's still race issues in England now. Right? There's still race issues in England.
And when you guys think about the word, you tie the word to that. So you're kind of like, you know what? I don't want to use that word at all.
Yeah, the connotation of that word is bad.
Yeah.
There's still race issues. There's race issues here. Let's not. Come on, there's race issues here still.
Yeah. Right, and that's what it goes back to what I was saying earlier. There's this no push to try to diminish race issues. You understand? If we talk about you see, what I think, and I guess it's a whole different topic me and Sue used to talk about all the time, what I think they did know them, okay, here is equality. You get me? But you remember when they gave the equality, they put in stuff like the Civil Rights Act, all these things to protect. They gave, I'm sorry, Pang, but they gave minorities protections. You get what I'm saying? And you see, what they're doing now is taking them away by saying, oh, well, you got equality. Look, you get to go to the best universities. You get to do to X, Y, Z. So you don't need the protections anymore, knowing good and well that the protections are why these people got into where they got into in the first place. And that's what I'm saying. There's still to this day a very active push to separate us all, you understand, and to elevate one over the other. You get me? So there's still a very active push, and that's why I'm saying to you now, they want to say to you, oh well, you are using that word. I can't use that word because it don't mean anything anymore. And I guarantee you, there's people turning over in them grave to be like, yo, I have been called this word. So many different ways that it haunt me. You get what I'm saying?
Bro, as of today, equality is such a hoax. So 2023.
So to play
that's a damn lie
here, right? How would you guys feel? And this is probably straying away from the topic.
For sure.
How would you guys feel if you saw two white people, they posted on Instagram and the hashtag was white love?
White love?
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
I wouldn't think twice about it. I would see it and I would just scroll.
And I think that would be the difference between us and a black American.
Meaning?
What?
Meaning they would write black love?
Yeah, because at one point, black love was frowned upon. Right? By white people. Because
when was this?
Anything right should be white.
When were they frowned up? When was it frowned upon?
Black love was frowned upon by white people?
Any celebration of black was frowned upon.
Just like.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. All right. Okay.
It should be everybody love.
Just like when the people we just Black Lives Matter and
they'll say yeah.
All that is to my point, Pang. That's what I'm saying. It is an effort to diminish the exclusivity of the experience. You get what I'm saying? That is what they're trying to be like. No,
they're disregarding the real issue.
It's not happening. Right.
When you say that, you're disregarding the real issue.
Right.
Because if some white ladies came out and they were like, hey, we're starting a fund for young white women.
Do they need fund though?
We would look at it differently because they had the 400.
And
that's why I say equality is a whole different topic. That's why I say equality is kind of a hoax as of 2023 because it's not equal.
I think what happened is we are attacking a different topic from one angle.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because there's so many variables that we could have expounded upon in this conversation. We decided to attack it from one, which maybe it depends on the feedback. Go ahead and subscribe to the Boys Brunch Podcast, YouTube, Spotify.
Yes, sir.
You heard?
You know what I mean? The IG Live Thursdays at 9:30.
You heard?
I'm trying to but I say that to say that, give us some feedback and let us know that if there should be a part 2 of this topic, and attack from different angles.
Yeah, I think this is a very important topic to talk about. I know one topic that we're going to be talking about soon is the whole togetherness of the black people, because we've mentioned in this episode, we've mentioned being Jamaican and Black American and not knowing who are we? You know what I'm saying? And I think
Who does that happen with though?
we are the only race where that happens.
But who does that happen with?
What do you mean, who does that happen?
Majority of people I know that are Jamaican that moved to America claim Jamaica.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not what it says.
That's not what I'm saying.
Identify with Black Americans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, as in like identify with them at all?
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
The black experience in every country is different.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Everybody has a view on the African American experience because it's the most broadcast.
Right.
experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
So-
like, even in Africa, they look at African Americans like
How do they look?
not weird.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, same way. Because they're like, all right, you guys, are descendants of slaves many, many, many hundreds of years
Right.
ago. But now you guys have this equality type situation, whereas in some portions of Africa, it's still like low key kind of.
Honestly, bro, that's kind of upsetting because what Bob Marley said, him said one love, right? So the fact that we come here and we're talking about do we identify with African American? Nah, bro, like some African Americans are some of my best friends.
No, yeah, of course.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Guys,
I love everybody at the end of the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like,
hold on, wait. I think
ahead,
we should
explain.
go into the next. I think this should be a next episode, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that it's a shame that we all come from the same flipping place.
Exactly.
And they have made us into this thing where it's Jamaican, African American,
Facts.
Black British,
Did I not talk about
Haitian.
this? I said
No,
right.
we need to come together, and we are
said
the
right.
only race where it happens. There's no other
Right.
race.
You want to view that in a different thing now? Think about religion and think about Christianity. So you think about, you have one Christianity, but you have the Methodist, you have the Anglican, you have the Catholic, you have the Seventh-day Adventist. So it come like with race, with
Bro.
religion, with everything that's
A lot of things were created for division at the end of the day.
Well, really,
I'm trying to
religion.
divide the people.
I don't
It's a
mean
whole
to
other
get
topic
cancelled,
that
but
we're on right now.
religion is division. But
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
It is.
I think
is.
I would love to see
Can't
the
argue that.
feedback, everyone. I would love to see the feedback on this podcast because I definitely think it's a topic that we can expound upon at some, a part 2, a
Sure,
part 3.
you might see it next-
different,
you might see it
for
next.
Sure. Like it
From
would
a
be
past as kid,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, man. How long we've been on here now?
But
Alright.
Remi's been trying to wrap us up for a while still.
Let's wrap this one up. Remy.
Right.
Not
Big up Remy.
We need to eat
You see
some
me?
food
The guy behind the camera that's making it happen.
with the Aaliyah t-shirt.
Yeah, man, the shirt bad.
Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Love
Another
you, girl.
episode. I know we're talking about a serious topic now, but I think these things need to be
Needs to-
spoken about.
Always
You
need to
know
be
what I'm
spoken about.
saying?
And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to uplift everyone. Not just the people, but everyone, you know what I'm saying? So yo,
And put
like,
put your
subscribe,
comments,
notifications.
your views in the
Put your
comments.
comments
This is
below.
one that we're challenging you. We want feedback.
Yeah, seriously, we need
For
feedback
sure.
on this.
Let us get into this topic.
Tell us if we're wrong, if you
You know what I
agree with us. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's fine. So,
Boys Brunch, we out.
hey, Remy, cue that Trinidad James. Gold all in my chain.